Alright, so this is the first one, guys. Welcome. Hope you enjoy this. Be patient with me. So, today is the first video of what I'm going to try and do as a series for you. My guys, the thing about this is it's so weird, the state of the world we live in today, that we have to do these sorts of things, but we're going to try and have a little fun with it at the same time. Whenever you watch this video, please take your time, go through it. Don't feel like you have to stay with me the entire time. If there's ever a part where you need to go back and listen to something, please do that. It's going to help you. So the series that we're going to try and go through together is all about ear training. Music is listening, so making sure that you understand what it is you're listening to, that's ultimately the goal. And so we're going to start with what's called intervals. Now, intervals is two different musical notes and the distance between them. So for example, here's one note, and then the second note after that is, okay, so the distance between this note and this note, that is an interval, and there's a name for that. Okay, every interval has a name for it, and today we're going to start with this particular interval that I just played. That is a fifth. It's called a perfect fifth. It's one of the few intervals that has perfect in its name. There's a few others which we will get to in later videos, but this video is all about the perfect fifth. Now this would be the time where if you are like, wait, what? What are you talking about, Revis? So this is one interval that can be played in lots of different things. It's not just this exact note and then this exact note. You can also have a fifth that starts with a different note. Like for example, you could start here, and then your fifth above that would be, so the distance is that. Okay, so the distance can be any time, just like 5 is 4 more than 1, so 9 is also 4 more than 5. So it's like the distance is the same depending on, it just doesn't really matter where you start. That may have been a bad analogy. Sorry about that, guys, if that confused you. Just work on what you're hearing, okay? That's the biggest key for you. Listen to what you're hearing, and then hopefully with enough practice you'll be able to identify the distance. Now there's a couple different ways that you can do that. When I was learning this sort of thing, I had a lovely professor tell me lots of different tips and tricks and little songs that everybody knows that have those intervals. And for the fifth, it's one of my personal faves because it's Star Wars. And if you don't watch Star Wars, I'm sorry, you are living under a rock. Please check that out. But what you just heard, that fifth, I'll go back to the original one that we started with. So that's bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum, ba, 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 bum, bum. That's the thing. That's the theme of Star Wars. So if you hear this interval, and in your head you can imagine, if you can imagine that, it's a fifth. Okay? But you got to make sure that you're right there. Ba 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 ba. Same idea. Now, when you take this, when you're done with watching this video, what you need to do is practice it. It's not, don't just trust your gut and think that you know. You might be blessed with a very naturally gifted ear in that regard, but a lot of times it takes work, myself included. It took a lot of time for me to identify and remember what intervals sounded like. And I'm starting you off with this one. I'm not going to give you any others. If you hear anything other than this, it's not a fifth. It's not a perfect fifth. So the goal for this is so that you can identify perfect fifths when you hear them. Okay? So if you have a note that has, like, if you hear this at any point, you know it's a fifth. Now that was a different starting note, okay? But that is a fifth nonetheless. And you've got all sorts of fifths. Now, if you are a piano player, you probably already understand this a little bit. You just start with one note and then go like it. This is a C, for those that want to know. This is a C, and if you go up to your fifth note in that scale, that's your fifth. Okay, that's another way to go about it. Now, for you folks that are my band guys, okay, in order to understand what an interval of a fifth is, you're going to have to practice it on your instrument. Here's the way you should do that, okay? You all should know your concert B-flat scale. If you don't, you need to practice that too. But you should all know your concert B-flat scale. When you play concert B-flat, the first note in that scale, if you know what the fifth note in that scale is, go back and forth jumping using lips or tongue, doesn't really matter. Go from B-flat to the fifth above that, which would be what, guys? Yeah, that's right. It's the F, concert F. So, if you play those back and forth, you should get that interval stuck in your head. Now, for you folks that are in my choir classes, we've all gone through a solfege scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. We all know that, right? So, a fifth is from do to so. Do, so, fa, mi, re, do, so, do, so. So, if you're a singer, use the solfege. Do to so is a fifth, perfect fifth every single time. But that is not enough. You must know when you're wrong and when you're right, because some of you may actually think you're right and maybe really close, but not quite. So here's the thing that you need to understand. Band kids, I've already told you got your instrument, or at least you should. If you don't have an instrument to go off of, if you don't have a piano at your house, or if you don't have an instrument to play, here's the job. It's very simple. If you've been in my class before, you already know what I'm going to say. Take your phone out, download a piano app. Very simple. Very simple. There are a lot of free ones. Some of the good ones have the letter names on the keys for those of you who need that sort of thing. That's okay. Do that. Use those. When you use that app, all you have to do is play a note on that app and then fumble around till you find your fifth. That is the fifth. So for those of you who are using a piano app that has the letter names on it, my firm recommendation is to start on C, middle C. Alright, so that would be C4 on piano because they'll have a lot of numbers on that app. The C4. Start on that and then go to the G above that. That's for you piano app folks or you piano folks. It doesn't really matter. And that is your, that's your fifth, guys. Now, it's one thing for me to tell you. It's a whole nother thing for me to understand whether or not you know what I'm saying. So, just like in class, if you've got a question about it or if you are just completely lost, please let me know. Let me know. You have ways to communicate with me. If you're my students, you are. But since this is going to be on YouTube, guys, if you're not my student, you are just watching this and you're like, okay, I didn't know I needed to know this. Send me a comment. Put it in the comments at the bottom. Let me know if you're confused. I will try and get back with you and help you out. Okay? There's, again, like I said, this is going to be a series of different interval lessons. This is just the first one, and it's all about perfect fifths. Now, I wouldn't be a good teacher if I didn't give you something to do other than just practice. So, here's what I need you to do, guys. If you think you know what a perfect fifth sounds like, if you think you've got this down, if you think you've got it down here, if you think you've got it down here, if you think you understand what a perfect fifth is, here's what you need to do. You need to go on to that lovely app, YouTube, that you all spend time on, I can guarantee it, and I need you to find me a video, okay? There's going to be so many songs out there that you've listened to before that involve perfect fifths. So here's what I need you to do. Find me one of them, just one song that has a perfect fifth in it. Now, here's the trick. I don't want you to just send me the link. I want you to send me the link to the video with a timestamp of when the interval occurs. When in the song does a perfect fifth happen? When does it happen? Perfect fifth interval in that song. Doesn't matter what song it is, guys. Preferably a little bit more of a school appropriate song, but I mean, I digress. Send me those links. Put those in the comments. I would really appreciate that. And so yeah, I'll listen to as many of them as I can, and I will get back to you as whether or not you actually understand what a perfect fifth is. But I have very high hopes for you, and I know that you can do this. This is a perfect fifth. That's all it is. Think Star Wars. Remember, if you can't hear Star Wars in your head, if you can't hear that, it's not a fifth. Okay? So, if you're watching this video, like it if you did like it. If you learned a little something, give me a like. Subscribe if you want more content. And if you are one of my students in class during this lovely, lovely time we live in of coronavirus, COVID-19, whichever you want to call it, you should be subscribing to me, because this is how I'm giving you some information. Now, I'm trying not to stress you guys out too much, okay, because you've got a lot to worry about in your lives. We all do. But I thought you should know a little something about music that might help you in the long run. And you'll be surprised how many songs you listen to that have a perfect fifth in it. So, with that, like, subscribe, and post in the comments your videos and timestamps, and I will see you next time.